Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Wow.
Well, it is not the exciting Sunday postgame show we wanted. For the first time in our 6-week existence, this game is not coming down to the wire. Unfortunately, the Browns down by 21 points, I believe, at last check to the Patriots, alongside Adam the Bull, Jeff Lloyd, and G.Bush. It is McNuggets here with a sad and depressing Sunday afternoon of watching football.
Mike, I'm sorry. I got to jump in. G, I know you want to jump. I know everybody wants to jump, but I got to jump in here because I have been the defender of the Browns the last few weeks more than anybody else. When everybody else has been ripping them and going crazy and going nuts, I have defended this team again and again and again. I stupidly said I would buy a Baker Mayfield Panthers jersey like an idiot when I guaranteed the Browns win. And they were freaking, I want to say a different word with an F, but unfortunately we can't do that. They were beyond pathetic today. Okay, and I'm not someone, in the past I've always been like, fire everybody, fire everybody, fire everybody. And I do think Joe Wood should be fired. I do think Mike Prefer should be fired. They've both proven themselves to be terrible position coordinators. They're terrible. Get them the hell out of here. But I'm not firing Kevin Stefanski. I'm sure some people will want to. The players should be embarrassed. They were disgraceful on the field today. We finally saw, everybody got carried away with Jacoby Brissett the first few weeks. You saw who he really is. The longer guys like Jacoby Brissett play, the longer guys like Baker play, guys like that, the longer they play, the more they get exposed. He is not a good quarterback. And listen, they're just not a good team. And you can we certainly want to blame the coaches. They deserve some blame, but the players don't get past. They sucked across the board here today. First of all, and they didn't run the ball enough. But I don't know. I don't want to do all the talking. Go ahead, guys. This was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
G-Bush, I know you're going to go off, so let's let Jeff get a word in here. Then we're going to let GT off. Jeff, what's up, man? Not a good performance today from our Browns.
I talked about this, and G, we talked about this week. There were a couple of things I told you about and made me nervous about going into this game. Number one, everybody, when you zig, Bill Belichick zags. The Browns had been gassed on the run the last 2 weeks. Bill Belichick came in and said, well, let's see if your secondary is on par, because that was a big, big issue. And, gee, over. Bailey Zappi came in here, a third-string quarterback. Bull, every Mike G, a third-string quarterback came in here like this was his house. And the other thing I talked about was offensively, don't do what Bill can see on tape. Crucial spot in the game early. And Bull, this ain't about the field goal. The 4th and 1. Oh, we're going to sneak it with Jacoby Brissett. Really? Where did he learn it? Who taught it to him? The Patriots did. You went up against Bill Belichick and you tried to show him something that he already saw.
That's
you
right.
had to come.
And why rush it? Why rush it there? Why rush it? What are you doing?
Or go with Nick or go with anybody else or throw it. The QB sneak, it was 6 for 6, but all of a sudden Bill Belichick's going to be like dumbfounded by it, not ready for it. The things I talked about this week that the Browns couldn't do are exactly the things that the Browns did do, and this is why they're in the situation they are.
G-Bush, this is your chance to rant. I got something to say, then we'll dig into the some of the decisions and some deeper stuff, but the floor is yours, G-Bush, and I know you're salty. Take it away, my friend.
We set ourselves up for this one because – sometimes when you're a team and you don't win very much, you can tend to overlook some stuff and you say, well, we can't keep doing the same things and you can't keep doing the same things. And I just went back and I watched it and I looked at a lot of film of all the other teams and what their coaches said. And guess what? Kevin Stefanski says the same crap. And I know you don't want to say, hey, you're not going to fire him for what? Let me ask you a question. People be forgetting this. Who won the playoff game? Was Kevin Stefanski even in the building? No, he was not. Let's keep that a buck. Second of all, how you come out with the leading rusher in the league and you come out with 5 wide and Pharaoh Brown? What? This is the stuff. And you know what? He's heard it. He knows it. And the reason why I told you, you can bait really smart people because they can't get out their own way. He knows everybody says this stuff about him, but what does he do? He comes out to prove you wrong. I'll show you. No, you got blitzkrieg today. You got bomb. You just got ripped today. You threw the ball 40-something times. You didn't know Bill Belichick, that was his game plan? You didn't know that was what he was talking about? And at the end of the day, it's too late. No. Listen, see, this is the thing about life. You want to fire Joe Woods right now, but Joe Woods just cost you. He's already cost you 4 games. Went to the playoffs. My thing is this: I look at it as pragmatic. Joe Woods has been doing these same things for 3-4 years, but since our fan base, I get it, we haven't won anything, and they look pretty good. We tuck these guys away. He's an assistant coach. And let me ask you a question for all those people that said, well, we can't keep firing people. You name me one of our old coaches that we fired that went on to do anything. Shermer, Patton, Farmer, they don't even get jobs other places. And you telling me about continuity. At the end of the day, the Browns defense does nothing well. Not one thing well. We sugarcoat it. They don't ask no tough questions. And listen, send me to Berea. I'll ask the damn question. Coach, which one of you needs to be gone first? See, I'm starting to think these press passes, people ain't going to ask no questions, right? The first question should be, Coach Stefanski, your special teams as well as your defense has been subpar for 2 years. Which one of your assistants needs to take a look in the mirror? But I get it. They might not let you come back no more. But at the end of the day, I'm a diehard fan just like all these other people. I wouldn't give them a dime. I wouldn't pull up. I changed my uniform. You see what I'm wearing? I had a starter Browns jacket on. I want to watch people that know about it, that want to do something, that want to be about something. I want to represent this. I want to represent a winner, not a team that finds a way to lose and get up there and tell you we close, blowing smoke up my ass. I'm sorry. Go ahead, take it.
You know, what a disparity between this Guardians team, low payroll, undermanned, nothing expected. All they do is fight and claw and scratch and win. And this Browns team, overhyped, plenty of talent not performing. It's not that they don't have enough talent. It's that the talent's not playing well, not being coached well enough. They play with no heart. They play with no fight. They play with no toughness. You're right, G. I mean, listen, again, do you want to fire Stefanski?
He could get it too. He ain't done nothing for nobody. He could get it too. He been here 3 years with this roster, and we keep tiptoeing, walking on eggshells. Let me ask you a question. If they played this game next week, they switch coaching staff. We got the Patriots staff, and they got Stefanski and them. Who wins?
The Patriots. I mean, the Browns, probably.
Yeah,
the Browns. Yeah, I mean, and the Browns have a better roster than the Patriots. They do.
This guy's off the street.
And they got humiliated. Look at the quarterbacks the Browns have faced this year. Look at the quarterbacks.
They've lost to Marcus Mariota, who did beat the 49ers today, Bailey Zappi, and Joe Flacco, and Justin Herbert. That is inexcusable.
Yeah, and it was an injured Justin Herbert, too.
An injured Justin Herbert. It is inexcusable for this defense with the names on the back of the jerseys, the talent, and the money they are paying to these guys to allow the Patriots' third-string quarterback. Mind you, Brian Hoyer was the backup. He got hurt.
Yeah.
Bailey Zappi was the third-string guy. And all of a sudden...
By the way, Bailey Zappi...
He looks like Tom Brady out there. 300 yards.
He looked pretty good.
He looked really good.
He looked pretty good.
Really good.
Let's take a look at this. The Patriots scored 45 last year with a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
They came back again with another rookie that's a third stringer with no experience and got 38 freaking points. Save me the Stefanski genius talk. Save me. He's doing something for the Browns and he's saving us from they won one playoff game at Pittsburgh and he didn't even coach it. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead with that,
I don't understand why people listen, I'm not in the fire Stefanski camp. However, people were calling him a great coach early. I remember that we were talking about the Guardians and the Browns, a couple months ago, and people were like, we got 2 great coaches. I'm like, no. You got 1 great manager in Terry Francona. Kevin Stefanski, I think, is a pretty good coach. Even that's still up for debate. But the assistant coaches are terrible. I mean, Joe Woods and Mike Prefer both need to be fired. I don't know why you hired Mike Prefer, that homophobic piece of garbage in the first place. And now you should fire his ass and Joe Woods at the same time. I mean, get them both out of here. And if Stefanski can't get them on track at some point, he's going to be gone too.
No, he's definitely on the hot seat. And Bull, we were talking beforehand, and I do want to put this in a tiny bit of perspective before we go down the negative route here, because there is a lot of negativity and embarrassment and shuns to be paid. But the AFC North is not a good division right now. The Bengals 3-3, and even after today, the Browns, despite the fact that at this moment the Browns are a garbage football team, they're first place, and next week with a win and a Bengals loss could be setting up a Halloween matchup for first place in the AFC North, excuse me. So there is that one silver lining. How bad they've played, and they have been horrendous. Yeah, they are one game out of first place.
They if the Browns win their next two games, they're in first place. As bad as they've been, now I get it, G. I know you're gonna say there's no way they're gonna do it. I don't think anybody thought the Falcons were going to beat the Niners or that the Steelers were going to beat the Buccaneers. I find it hard to believe the Browns are going to win consecutive games against the Ravens and Bengals. I think they're much more likely to lose both than win both. However, yes, if they do both those games, they are in first place.
Before anyone jumps in real quick, and then Jeff will let you go, but shout out to our guy, Spoonie Images, for a $50 super chat, our biggest super chat yet. He said, I think you guys are amazing. To be honest, I haven't watched the last 3 games. Too much dysfunction, not enough accountability and focus. This team is extremely unstable from the core. We appreciate it. Spoonie Images, wherever you're listening and watching from.
Shout out Spoonie.
Really do appreciate that.
But first things first, he's the smart guy of the room. He's not watching.
Yes.
That's true.
Also, before you go, Jeff, let me say one thing. How about go Guards tonight? We got a chance to rebound and get our morales back up before we go to bed tonight. So
yeah, definitely.
Let's hope for another Guardians win. But Jeff, floor is yours here real quick before we start digging into specifics. I'll let you start on this, Jeff. Where do you want to start? What part of this embarrassing loss do you want to pick up?
The problem is consistency on both sides of the ball. The field goal drive early, it was 3rd and 4. Hunt hadn't taken a snap yet. You put him in and you try to get him to get the yards. Jacoby had done a couple of things, so basically he conceded the field goal. And again, I'm not saying points, field goals, whatever, points. And so you took the ball out of Jacoby's hand. He had gotten you down there, the long completion to Njoku. Kareem's in, ball, stuffed at the line. Now you take the field goal. The QB sneak later. You're playing against look, and we all talk about the analytics and the brain trust and the smartness of the Cleveland Browns franchise. None of you hold a candle to Bill Belichick. Not even close as far as football knowledge. So you cannot, do things that you've done to this point. 6 for 6 on QB sneaks. You didn't think Bill went over that. And then also on that, now the defensive side of the ball, you committed so much to stopping the run. And look, you give it where it's due. For the most part, they were tremendously better this week. But it was like that's all they did this week. Jacoby Myers, not really a household name. Jonnu Smith, not really a household name. Bailey Zappi, a 3rd-string quarterback. You committed so much to trying to stop the run, now brought back an old issue. We can't cover anybody anymore. And the coverage was. And Martin Emerson, again, another good week. And they went after him some in the plays where he was out of position. Gave up a completion or two. Heyman and Hahn about the G-new pass interference in the end zone. Your head was in his chest. You didn't turn it around.
Yeah, it was the right call. I don't know.
Exactly. Granted, you held him to a field goal, which was huge. You really thought for the Browns, all right, here's some momentum now. You got a field goal, 3rd and 1 at the goal line. But once something starts to work with the Browns, it seems like a power outage where there's a failure somewhere else. Today it was the run game. You had more incompletions than you had completions. So it seems like every time the Browns can get better in one aspect, they start to suffer or are lesser in another. And it's a frustrating 23 points. You lost by 23 points at home to a 3rd-string quarterback. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
And by the way, it's not like the Patriots are a good team. I know they got a great coach, but they're not a good team.
Nope.
You lost to a bad Patriots team. Now the Jets right now obviously are looking a lot better. They're 4-2 than we thought they were. I'm still not a believer in them, but they are 4-2. You know, you are what your record says you are.
Going off that, outside of the Chargers and even maybe the Chargers, just looking at the name recognition, brand, and talent on the team, of the Browns played a team with more overall talent on the roster this year.
The Chargers, with Justin Herbert, yes. But I believe they have had more talent than 5 of the 6 teams they played. Now, maybe I'm wrong.
Keenan Allen wasn't even playing.
What's that?
Keenan Allen wasn't playing. The starting left tackle wasn't playing. Joey Bosa wasn't playing. No, the Chargers do not have more talent.
But Myles Garrett was not playing in that game. Myles Garrett did play. He was back last week. That's my bad. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. But it doesn't matter. Even if we say that they're more talented than the Chargers, I don't think they are. You do. Whatever. I think we agree in the other 5 games they had more talent, and they've been awful. They horrible. I mean, and yes, Kevin Stefanski's got to be on the hot seat too. He doesn't get a lifetime pass because they won 1 playoff game. A lot of Browns fans were like, well, Baker, you want to give him a pass because of the 1 playoff win. Well, you can't do the same with Stefanski. He doesn't get a pass for that playoff win.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm gonna tell you what. I had when they pulled the trigger to get rid of Odell Beckham Jr., right, in the middle of the season, they felt it was that necessary to get him off the team, right? Mm-hmm. And they say, okay, leave. That was 1 strike. Okay, well, now it ain't Odell. Then last year it was Baker Mayfield. I'm not no hypocrite, bro. I keep it 100. If I'm gonna sit up here and kill Baker Mayfield and say that ain't it, what is this guy doing? He's playing hurt. He's costing the team. And then this offseason, they find the need to go get Deshaun Watson, do whatever they need to, and ship him off. All right. Everybody knew what it was. Now it's on you, buddy. You picked Jacoby Brissett. You said you wanted Deshaun Watson. You guys said you didn't need D tackles. You're the one that don't value linebackers. You said that your 3rd team, Schwartz and Bell and all those other guys. That is on you. At a certain point in time, the chickens is going to come home to roost. And your record is what it is. You ain't now you're looking around at your little sheet and you're like, I don't got my quarterback. I know that's going through your mind, Coach Stefanski, but you do not get a pass just like the rest of them don't. You don't get to sit around here and waste years while you come up with things to screw up. I'm sorry.
No.
And if he does not have the guts to go after Joe Woods, which is a liability, or your special teams coordinator is a liability, then you don't have what it takes to be a head coach, because head coaches make tough decisions. Leaders make tough decisions. People in charge make difficult decisions. Our bosses would get rid of us in a heartbeat if we did not perform up to standards. I'm looking at all 4 of us. So why the heck do we consistently give guys years to mess up like it's some playhouse? It's not. It's life.
Yeah, and if the Browns finish with like a 4, 5, 6 win season, then everybody's got to go, including Stefanski. You can't have that. Now, listen, most of us didn't pick the Browns to make the playoffs when we knew Deshaun Watson wasn't playing for 11 games, but we didn't expect them to be this bad, right? The way the division has been much worse than we would expect. The Browns in a way have gotten a huge break. Cincinnati and Baltimore have underwhelmed big time this year, big time. And so they've kept the Browns in it, and that's the only reason the Browns are still alive. But if they end up getting blown out by these 2 teams the next 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they're 2-6, and the season completely snowballs, then you got to fire everybody.
You think Myles Garrett's playing next week? I think he's a little
probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
It could happen. That's the thing I'm saying here, McDougas. Every time we tell them, hey, but look at the division. Oh no, that could be going too quickly. Now it's division games. You think Lamar Jackson going? I'm just saying.
Well, G.Bush, you guys laughed at me. It was really Jay, but you guys laughed at me because for the 3rd week in a row, I put in the group chat at some point, hey, this is a must-win for the Browns. And you guys go, well, how come every game can't be a must-win? Yeah. Well, it's a must-win because for the first 5 weeks of the season, you were getting A+ performances for Jacoby Brissett to his standards, and you were still losing to teams despite the fact you were getting the best of Jacoby Brissett to lesser talented teams. Now we saw Jacoby Brissett today. He looked a lot like week 1 Jacoby Brissett, which the Browns were still able to pull out a win over Baker Mayfield and the Panthers. But it is not a quarterback that I feel comfortable bringing into Baltimore, bringing into Cincinnati, bringing up against even though the Buccaneers are terrible, Tom Brady, Josh Allen, the Dolphins. And those were games when you look at the schedule as a whole, knowing Deshaun Watson wasn't coming back till week 13, that you had to win. You couldn't dig yourself into too deep of a hole and then climb out of it with Watson. And they are lucky that the division is not already out of hand.
Yeah.
They're lucky to be a game back. But that's why I kept saying these are must-win games for the Browns. And through 6 games, I thought 4 of them were must-wins. They're 1-3 in those 4 must-wins. And the season's not over yet. They're a game out of first place. But there is nothing I've seen on tape, especially the last 2 weeks, that gives me any confidence with Brissett at the helm. This team can turn it around offensively.
By the way, guys, this is crazy, but I'd play Josh Dobbs next week. What do you got to lose?
You have nothing to lose.
I mean, Jacoby Brissett, the only good thing I could say about him coming into the season was he doesn't turn the ball over. But he has. He's turning the ball over.
Everything's on the table.
Jacoby Brissett, how many throws? By the way, you know that long completion he had to David Njoku early in the game? Do you guys remember that?
At the first play of the game.
On the sideline.
Yeah, no.
If he hits him in stride, that should be a touchdown. Njoku, if you go back and look at that play, Njoku had to basically stop his route to catch the ball, and that allowed the defender to tackle him. If you go back and watch that play, if Jacoby hits him in stride, it's an 80-yard touchdown or whatever. I don't remember the exact yardage. It's a touchdown easy because the DB had fallen for the I don't know if it was the fake or I don't know what happened to the DB, but Njoku had like 3 yards on him, and he's a great athlete. So if he catches that ball in stride, it's a touchdown. Jacoby Brissett can't make any deep throws. He holds on to the ball too long. And the only thing he does well is not turn the ball over. Well, that's not the case anymore. He's had some terrible turnovers. So what's the point? I know it's easy to say, well, Josh Dobbs, he's no good. I don't know he's not. He's never played. At least Josh Dobbs is a much better athlete than Jacoby.
Can I make 1 point on Brissett real quick? I heard this, and I think it's worth repeating. Brissett is like your 2004 Toyota Camry that you buy on used resale. And when you're just driving and you got to go 65 on the highway, yeah, it can cruise fine. But as soon as you need to get that puppy over 85 miles an hour, you're in a hurry to get to pick up your kids. You're in a hurry to do anything. You start feeling the wheels, the wheels start shaking, and you're not confident that you're going to get from point
it's
A to
raining.
point B.
You in snow McNuggets. You trying to drive in the rain. You on the turnpike. It's snowing. You like, dog, is this thing held together with bubble gum? That's a great analogy because that's exactly what and it feels like as a fan, you're in that car. And you're driving through Pittsburgh or West Virginia in the middle of the night. We done all been there. And then you're looking around like, dog, man, this is I don't feel kind of safe out here. We might want to get at a rest stop. That's exactly what we're like.
Everything about Jacoby Brissett's play is slow. We understand that.
Yes.
And even when he's been good, it's slow.
Yep.
So to think when you get into the point where it's 2 minutes to go get you a W or you're down double digits, like there is no difference. And, if you want to use the car analogy, he's like a Buick Park Avenue. He does 65. There is nothing else. Mike, your point is on the numbers. So you can't expect that. And look, it comes down to having, again, everything on the same page. Play good run D. Play good in pass D. On the ball. Be able to throw it. There is no band to this Cleveland Browns. Like the running game is a great instrument. It's like the lead guitars you all want to see. There is no cohesion to this team, and they cannot get everything going at the same time. And to think, Jacoby Brissett, look, what is it, five interceptions now through seams? Probably understandable numbers. Nobody thought the secondary was going to off the map. Nobody thought you were going to get beat up like, the neighborhood weakling in the run game over 2 weeks. But can we just get 1 week where this just looks like a uniformed front? And everything is working together, because once you get excited about one aspect, you watch 2 plays and you're like, oh, that one's out the freaking window now. And that had been a positive the last 2. It's embarrassing. And look, are coaches to blame? Absolutely. Do we know which way it's going to work? No. You've got to figure out some way where you can get the entire team playing in pace and at least playing above average football. It's a terrible product right now. They're only 1 game out. In the same respect as I say this, I'm scared to death to go Baltimore and Cincinnati back-to-back.
Yeah.
Hey, this team is on quit alert.
And real quick, before you hop in, Justin Kink, I think makes a good point. He said, as soon as Stefanski tried to outsmart Belichick by throwing twice to start the game, I knew we were going to get blown out. Stefanski, as much of an
real quick, let me jump in on that one. The opening interception. Send David Njoku deep. Because you know what? Bill's going to give you nickels. He's going to give you dimes. He's not going to give you dollar bills. So send Njoku deep. They'll cover those guys. Guess what? There would have been 2 or 3 guys underneath. The play was open, and it was a throw from Jacoby Brissett. But don't go in there thinking you're going to fool Bill. He's going to cover the deep one. Just like he took away the run today. He's not dumb. He's been doing it forever. And guess what? Between the crossing wide receiver, the other 2 tight ends, you would have had a 15, 20-yard pickup and regroup because everybody would have flowed to David Njoku. Again, wrong on Brissett, late with the throw to Brown. But also, Pharaoh Brown's been in town for about 8 days. All of a sudden, he's become a guy that gets targets over to Njoku, Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones. It's like, it wasn't even like he knew this system. Like, Pharaoh Brown, really? Like, all of a sudden, this is your key to knock off Bill Belichick to reach number 2 all-time. And Pharaoh Brown was going to be the difference that did this today. Come on.
Yeah. And by the way, you know, something we got to start looking at, too. We were all anointing Andrew Berry the next great GM, and there's a lot of criticism of him, especially because most of these young players have not performed. But, guys, I'm curious. Do you think I'm nuts with my Josh Dobbs, or are you with me?
I think they're – G.Bush, you go first. You go first.
Hey, no, look, I told everything on the table.
Yeah.
Everything is on the table, Bull, because you know what I see? I see a lot of people that don't believe nothing gonna happen to them. That goes from the coaching staff on down. Yeah. I see a bunch of people that don't think nothing bad's gonna happen because he set up a bunch of entitled stuff where people is comfortable messing up. These guys are comfortable. You know, back in the day when I was playing, if you did something wrong, you might not see the game. You might not see the rest of the game. These guys are still getting their 60, 70 snaps. These dudes ain't even getting called out in the meeting rooms. These dudes is comfortable in the streets talking about people booing in the stands. They comfortable as hell. The coach is comfortable down on to the equipment manager. Cats is comfortable.
Yeah.
They sit with their feet kicked up. Everybody can go.
Yeah.
Here's my 2 cents on that, Bull, with Dobbs and Brissett. I think you still start Brissett. If he comes out and doesn't look good in the first quarter, I think you pull the hook. You have there's nothing to waste. And also, if you go with Dobbs, you can run the ball. Like that is a sign.
But why start Brissett again? Why start Brissett? We know what he is.
Yeah, I mean, he said in totality of 6 games this year, he's played 4 good games for Brissett and 2 bad games.
Has he really?
For his caliber,
he's played 2 good games. Hey. He's played 2 okay games, and he's played 2 awful games.
This game
was awful.
And the first game was awful.
That resets you back to 0. This is a reset game.
I don't care. Like that. So he's had 2 good games. Maybe Josh Dobbs. Look at all these other quarterbacks, like Bailey Zappi. Like maybe the Browns will find lightning in a bottle.
I'm not going into a game with him as my starter. I think if Brissett, well, you pull the hook and put him in.
Why? But why? Who is Brissett that he should have the guaranteed starting job?
I'm with Mike here, though. This is what it comes to. Who played in the preseason? Omari didn't play in the preseason. David Njoku didn't play in the preseason. Jacoby Brissett didn't play in the preseason. Josh Dobbs did. But some of the guys Josh had success with, they're not necessarily here. So, I'm with Mike. Look, you give 2 series, and you want to know what? You know, we understand Jacoby Brissett is breaking tackles, but you want to know what? If it's Josh Dobbs, he can go run. He doesn't have to say, I broke tackles to throw it. Josh Dobbs could then maybe go run and make some plays happen. We saw he's a better athletic guy. But there's no unity really between quarterback and skill guys. So you let Jacoby start. If it don't work, then if you want Josh Dobbs, I ain't saying no.
If these guys are going to bench him after 2 series anyway, then just start Dobbs.
What if Dobbs goes out and goes 0 for 7 and you're down 13-0? How do you now look at Jacoby and say, "Oh, sorry"? Go ahead.
So what? He's a backup. That's his job. Then he can go back in.
Not right now. He's not. Not right now. He's not.
Here's
the starter right now.
Here's my thing. I sit here and tell people all the time, Don't look at what you do in your house. Look at what other people in the other houses doing. I just saw a kid come off the street and light you up for 300 yards. I saw Joe Flacco come in here and light you up for almost 400 yards, right? These are backups, guys that ain't playing nowhere else. You know what? The mentality in other programs is this. If you're not getting it done, they talking about Mac Jones. Who care about Mac Jones? This kid playing well. You see what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I have him in practice. We splitting reps here, 50-50. We splitting reps 50-50 because if I'm going to take you out after 2 series, well, guess what? I need to at least have Dobbs ready to go and splitting these reps. There was no security in the back.
Mikey, you got to read the super chats, man. We've had a bunch.
I do.
Get him in.
Warpath says Callahan should be the interim head coach. AVP calls plays, hire new defensive coordinator. Then we got this is from
Der Schnubberstein.
I'll say non-elite running.
Yeah. AB should be on the hot seat. Why was everyone so hot on him? He was VP, players, personnel. What's our record? Cheers from Berlin, Germany.
Yeah.
Hey, my sister lives in Germany. Shout out to Germany and all the UCSS fans out there. Hey, Bull and G, I'm with you. Like, I'm not saying Brissett should be locked in as the starter. I think it's easier to go from
But here's my point, guys.
Dobbs back to Brissett. And if you put Dobbs in, you're giving your hand away that you're going to run the ball 85 times, which may not be a bad thing for this Browns.
They should be doing that anyway.
Yes.
They should be doing that anyway. And here's the thing, guys. If you guys are both to the point where you're willing to pull him out if he gets off to a bad start, then what's the point of starting him? It's like the team that fires their coach early in the season, their head coach, or in baseball, you fire a manager early. Well, if you were willing to fire him that early, that means you had to be thinking about firing him to begin with. So just keep him, as my good friend G would say, keep it moving and get him out.
Yeah, But Bull, here's another thing though. You by putting Dobbs in, I think you're signaling to the rest of the team, "Hey, we're just punting," and you're a game out of first place.
I don't agree with that.
Let me give you that. Go ahead. Like you like that, Jeff. I'll say this. Here's somebody said just a couple of seconds ago, the morale on the team is down.
It is 100%.
What people don't understand is the longer you keep people in authority when they are incompetent in the eyes of the people that are playing on the field, you are already sending a signal you're punting. Because if I'm a player and I'm sitting in here and saying, we don't bring anybody, we're getting embarrassed by quarterbacks that are sitting back there with all day to throw. Why is this guy still calling plays? And he's walking in Berea like nothing's happened. When you do that, that's when people quit. I played for coaches like that. I've known that this guy ain't got nothing. You look at him and say, I question whether or not he's even competent to call the plays. And what you start to see, the first thing that goes is the vocalness. The second thing that goes is the hustle and the energy. And then the third thing that happens is, how many times do you see people walk? I saw 2 guys get ran over by a tight end and run 67 yards. No attempt to rush, no attempt to do anything. Those are the telltale signs of a team that is quitting because they have no other recourse to say, we don't respect him.
And they're not worried
at this point.
And they're worried because there's no accountability. I'll tell you what the Browns should do, guys, at the end of the year. They should go call Sean Payton and say, well, how much do we have to pay you to come here? And then go call Mike Zimmer and say, how much do we have to pay you to be our defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
To me, I would have to question this. I might not even want Deshaun Watson playing. I might not even want him playing under
so wrong.
No, he's got to play.
He's got to get the reps. He's got to get the reps.
He's going to get the reps. But what I'm evaluating is this. We act like he's going to come out here and execute some sort of great game plan. We got a superstar, one of the best players in the league. He can't get him open. We had a superstar at receiver. He couldn't get him open. You tell me who he has shown to be a person that can get involved besides tight ends. I'll wait. Farrell Brown came off the street and got spot shadow, Jeff. He got the first 3 plays. I said, this guy's crazy.
While we're waiting on that, Donnie M says next week Baltimore is going to put 9 in the box and say beat us throwing. Donnie M wants our thoughts on that.
Oh, stop. Why? Because one team did decent job early. The Browns gave up on the run. If they would have stuck with it, they would have eventually worn them down like they do to every other. Let the Ravens put 9 in the box. Good. It won't work. How did it work today? The Ravens' defense sucks.
What they did last year and it worked. It's what they did last year and it worked.
But how many carries did Chubb get, Jeff? He gives up on it some games.
Yes, but when you get to 2nd and 10, and look, it's another game. Once this Browns team right now, the way it's constructed, it doesn't matter if it's 10, 12, 14, 16. If the Browns are down, they don't have enough faith in their offense to refix this. They just don't. And part of it is because it is Jacoby Brissett, and everything's got to go perfect for him to put together a drive. And look, we've all spent 5 weeks spitting whatever superlative we could towards Nick Chubb. It's obvious if you were playing the Browns right now and you are a defensive coordinator, anybody involved in the defensive side of the ball, it's not Kareem. It's 24, and it is nobody else. I'll let Kareem Hunt beat me. I'll let Cooper beat me.
Jeff, they've known that the whole season, and the Patriots were the only team to slow them down at all. Not like these other teams didn't know that.
The Chargers.
The offensive line by far had their worst performance today. I mean, Brissett was under pressure.
Wyatt Teller got hurt. That was a big deal. He's a great run blocker.
And Conklin got banged up for a little bit. Wills, had some plays, but this was by far the worst offensive line performance we've seen from the Browns.
You know what you tell your team? Let's be clear. You know what you tell your team when you come out in 5 wide with 3 tight ends the first play of the game? You're telling them we're stupid. We don't know what we're doing, and we're soft as batch cookies. You got the number 1 offense. Are you serious? And people talk about, well, they stopped them. No, you came out in 5 wide, throwing the ball, and you throw a pick the second play of the game as if Patrick Mahomes is on your team. From that point on, if we know it and we sitting at home, what do you think the players feel like? And you've been sitting in these meetings and you know how good Nick Chubb is. You understand what he brings to the table. And instead, your coach, and instead of giving you an opportunity to win a football game, he takes it out of his hands because he wants to be the guy.
Yeah. And we got 2 super chats real quick. This is from Rob Venters. He says, I just heard Kevin's press conference. G, you hit the nail on the head with this one. I have faith in Kevin, but his inability to adjust week after week just says we're going to get better. When will that happen? And another super chat. This one is from I've Gotta. Sean Payton ran once Drew Brees retired. What is any of these so-called great coaches done without a star quarterback? He's got a point. I mean, you
got a star quarterback now.
We had the argument on Friday, Bull. We don't have to get all the way back into it, but a quarterback does. And we got one more super chat real quick.
Quarterback, listen, let's face it. The rest of the panel. Go ahead, read this one.
He said, I love the channel. Thanks for what you guys do. How about guys being comfortable? Are we not going to help it? He's becoming the new Sendejo. So many blown coverages and bad tackling.
He sucks.
We're going to talk about tackling in a sec. Don't worry. I have something I want to bring up.
But let's face it. The rest of the panel, no offense, G, the rest of the panel embarrassed themselves by saying you'd rather have a good defense than a great quarterback. That was embarrassing by everybody. But we'll get over it. We'll move it on. We'll keep it moving.
About tackling real quick. And this is serious. They had a whole practice today this week dedicated to tackling. They said they were physical. They went back to training camp style practices. And there were a few plays today, and the one that comes to mind was when Delpit and I believe it was G. but it was one of the DBs, bounced off Jonnu Smith like he was a dummy in a...
Greg Newsome has been awful this year. Denzel Ward's been awful.
I don't know what he does.
Horrible.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're a resident, and I know, Jeff, you played too. You were on the offensive side of the ball, but at this point, tackling, this is on the coach players. Where does the lack of ability to bring someone down? Is that just effort? Because it's frankly embarrassing at this point.
No, it's on players.
Go, Jeff.
It's 100% on players. Look, you can say, and look, we can do the extra stuff. It's the extra stuff, whatever. Y'all been playing this game since you were 8 years old. And there is no way you got to this level by not being the predominant beast, monster. And all these guys, to be honest, were middle linebackers at 8, 9, 10 years old because they were the best field. So they just went, found the ball, and you've got to tackle. It's disturbing how bad and how soft it is. And look, it's not the fact that and the worst part, in my opinion, is it's not like they're selling out for like big time for causing hits. They break down and fall just breaking down, trying to get in a good tackling position. It's not like they're going for kill shots and missing. They have lost the tackle before they've even broken down.
Tackling is all about want. Tackling is all about want. And I keep telling people, I don't know whether or not, I just did a video and it talks, and you go watch it. Y'all go watch the video and say I am not lying. You go back and you rewind the tape, and every single coach sounds like him. Mangini sounded like him. Patton sounded like him. Your boy Hugh Jackson sounded like him. All of these guys with this will get better. See, here's a technique that you guys got to learn. It's called deflection. Sometimes in life, so nobody will call you out or you got to drill down on something. Here's the easy way to do it. If my boss is upset about me, he brings me into the office. Before he can even get into his notes, I go, hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? It's on me. I got to do better. I'm going to make sure we get that done. I turn around, get up, walk out and leave. And he goes, I didn't even tell him what I was mad about. You see, sometimes it's not about you sitting up here taking responsibility. It's, do you have awareness, and do you even have a clue of why these things are happening, and do you have a plan for them? What they tell me, they don't have a plan, because the things, you never see it get better. All the other teams do is just go to something else that you can't do. If it's the pass game, let's run it for 200. If it's the run game, hey, let's just go up top on you with a third string quarterback for 300. They're not very good. And let's keep it a buck. Let's just be honest with you. They got the number one offense because they got one player, Nick Chubb. If they didn't have Nick Chubb, they wouldn't have the number one offense. So here's the thing.
They have the number one offense?
Number one rushing offense.
Oh, rushing offense. Oh,
no,
okay.
no. At PFF, they had these guys as the number one offense in the entire league.
Doesn't make any sense. Their passing game sucks.
Brissett
you also have to keep but you also have to equate in Wyatt Teller, Joe Batonio, Posick, and what the offensive line is doing, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where you weighted grade.
So that's what, to me.
Oh, I see.
To me, Bull. Yeah. And I don't want to go back to the Guardians, but when you're in professional athletics and to see a bunch of young kids play that hard, and it's baseball, and you see guys that are on Pro Bowls, $100 million guys, coaches that have been here 4 years, and you don't see any fire, no enthusiasm. I mean, guys, this is not rocket science. Until somebody make a hard decision and some starters get sat down or some coaches get fired, this is a revolving door of the same excuses. And I'm gonna just be honest with you, man.
Yeah, you can't just come out every week. Go ahead, Mike.
Let me get 2 super chats in. Jay Boyer says you can't tackle if you leave guys wide open. And Justin Kink says this D has no dogs, nothing but cats. We need dogs. Say all these cats worried about the name on their backs of the jerseys. Get us some no-name dogs. Bull, it's all you.
Yeah, I honestly forgot what I was going to say. But I'm speechless from this team, which was never happened before. Yeah, go. Somebody else talk. I'll try to think about what I was going to say because I lost my train of thought.
All right. Well, we'll recap this train of thought. Yeah. G, I want to ask you this question here. When we, it's doom and gloom today. Obviously, an inexcusable loss, especially in the fashion you let Bailey Zappi come in here and shred apart your defense offensively.
Oh,
a massive step back.
Mike, I just remember what I was going to say. It was to G's point about saying the same things in the press conference. Sorry. You can't, I'm getting frustrated with I believe in this team. We're going to work harder. We're going to get better. I know there's probably nothing Kevin Stefanski could say outside of I'm firing this guy. Our team sucks. And guys don't usually say that stuff. But it gets I can understand why people would get aggravated when every week say you're going to get better, and they're not. The Browns are getting worse. Pretty much every week they've gotten worse. Think about the way they played that Panther game. The first 3 quarters, they looked great. And they haven't really looked great since.
This team don't look no better. I'm going to be honest with you. They are no better than when Hugh Jackson was fired. Tell me in what area they are better than the day Hugh Jackson was fired.
I don't know. Jeff, I want to ask you this question to start. We'll go around the horn here. There is a point, and you've been in a D1 locker room. G.Bush, you played in locker rooms. Bull, you were in literally dugouts. I was in a high school locker room. I mean, but we've all had coaches at any level where eventually their message goes in one ear and out the other. And that is when a coach has lost a team. And I don't know for sure because we're in that locker room, but it seems like Joe Woods, the special teams coach, even Stefanski to an extent, may have lost the pulse of this locker room. And what gives me that indication is at the end, I felt when it got to that last reverse touchdown and then the fumble, another touchdown, they may have given up a little bit. Jeff, do you get any indication that either they've given up, or are you worried that maybe it's going in one ear and out the other from the coaching staff to the players?
I will agree on 2 out of 3. I will agree on the special team side of the ball, and I will agree on the defensive side of the ball. I think offensively, I think you have players like Njoku, Chubb, Cooper, who have performed. They understand it's a little bit of a tighter situation with Jacoby Brissett. But, and look, this was my biggest thing when you said a guy like Deion Jones wasn't going to play this week, even though it would have been a short week. Jones was coming in here, part of a Super Bowl team, all of this stuff, and doesn't owe anybody to anybody. So you want to know what? If guys were dogging it or weren't doing what they needed to do, he would have stepped up, probably said something, because you want to know what? I'm here trying to get to the next part of my career. Obviously, you guys need me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have brought me here. If you had Jacob Phillips, you would have never traded. And, Cade York will give Cade his pass this week. He did his thing. But you have no semblance of what you're doing. And I don't want to hear that you signed a kick returner, he got hurt, and now he's out for the year. Plan B. You're not a good team. You're not the Chiefs. What is plan B? And, yeah, it sucks when you've got to go to plan B here in this part of your offense or your teams or your defense. Adjust. It's the NFL. You make a bunch of money. It can't just be, oh, well, that happened, so now we're going to suck. It just can't be that way.
And I'm gonna step in on this one too, man. Listen, people talk about Jimmy Haslam a lot, and all this, it starts with the top. They talk about, they had the kids on the sideline. Kevin Stefanski don't need to worry about no damn kids. He need to worry about what he's doing on the football field. Let's stop the nonsense. And I always talk to people, well, he's firing people. Well, who you tell me in the last 6 times they fired somebody, who should they have kept? None of them. So let's be real here.
Well, but he did hire all these bad coaches, though, G.
Listen,
Jim,
I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Would you rather, if you hire somebody, here's how I think. If I make a bad decision, do I want to compound it by letting that person stay here? No, I'm going to come to the conclusion and say, yeah. That's
fine, but Jimmy is a clown. I mean, he's a clown owner, and he deserves some blame, too. There's plenty of blame to go around. He's a clown. He's a criminal, allegedly, and he's a clown.
Here's what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say.
Yeah.
When you are a coach and you are on the field, you are in control of your. So my thing is, we can sit here and everybody want to say, hey, let's kumbaya and keep everything intact. This team is so far regressed. And by the way, if you look at what the team has done, you look at the pieces and parts around it. Why do you think the national media laughs? They laugh at the Browns because they'll find a way to do something stupid, right? You got a special teams player, right? It's just like clockwork. You didn't get the onside kick, right? Oh, guys, we're out of bounds. Donovan Peoples-Jones, you didn't know that you can just smack the ball out of bounds? You didn't know that? Didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's all of these things. And then the guy drops the punt.
The fundamentals are poor. By the way, Donovan Peoples-Jones, besides that, deserves some credit. He actually had a good game, I thought. He made a great catch down the sideline. One of the few guys that played well.
He did.
Yeah.
But if he played for the Patriots, Bill Belichick would have cussed him out at the same time. He would have said, listen, you idiot, why did you take the ball out of bounds? These penalties, and then to have the ball fall through your lap, and I'm like, who is this guy back here returning the punts anyway? Didn't you have Demetric Felton, Dearness Johnson that was doing that for a long? Donovan Peoples-Jones, all those guys, all they did is caught the ball. All I need you to do is catch the rock. But the Browns can't do the simple stuff. Nothing. They're not good at anything. That's hard to say.
No.
That's hard. Let that sink in. They're not that good at anything.
But
And there's
running
lots
the ball.
of things. One person, and you won't even give him the ball.
Well, it's not just one person. The offensive line's a part of it, too. And Kareem Hunt's good at running the ball. He just doesn't get enough touches. But they're good at running the ball. Got to say that. But they're not good at anything else. So I agree with you there. They're terrible against the run. They're terrible against the pass. The special team sucks, and the passing game sucks.
So, Bull, let me ask you this then. Or Jeff, you go first. Jeff, you go first if you want. If you're trying to hop in, Jeff.
No, I'm just going by Adam's point and like what G's saying. So it's like, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, once you get to one hand, I think it kind of tells the tale, and that's why this team is 2-4. And it certainly doesn't help.
Big
Who
Kev on
knows?
Super Chat.
You rush Clowney back. Maybe he would have been more beneficial this week. I mean, you just try to push so many buttons to have things go in your favor week by week. And it just seems like, we've all been there. The tire's just getting deeper and deeper in the mud.
We got 2 Super Chats real quick. Big Kev says, Bill Callahan and Stump Mitchell are awesome position coaches. Keep them. Literally the only weakness is head coach, offensive play calling, and defensive play calling. And Sir Steve says we are 58 yards game-winning field goal away from being 1-5. We had the discussion on the show this week, guys, about, the Browns quarter season awards, and the consensus we came to is there is no consensus on this team. You can make a case that some guys have been good, some guys have been bad. So, Bull, I want to start with you. We're 6 weeks in. They're 1 game out of first place, but they have not looked good. Where are you on the panic meter for this team? Is it at a 9 out of 10 in the red, or is it kind of still in the orange?
I mean,
too crazy.
The season, I want to say this. I mean, their chances of making the playoffs are almost nil. The only reason it's not nothing is because the division is staying with them, and the Ravens and Bengals aren't playing much better. The Browns do have a tougher schedule than the Ravens, the Bengals, the rest of the way. But the Browns still have an opportunity the next 2 weeks. As bad as it's been, as impossible as it seems for the Browns to turn around, there's no way anybody thinks right now the Browns are going to win their next 2. There's no reason to believe that. Weird things happen, and if the Browns win their next 2, they are in first place. That's a fact. They will be in first place if they win their next 2 games, and then we're looking at the season in a whole different way. Now, are any of us going to predict that? Of course not. Do we think that's going to happen? No. But if it does, it's a whole different season. If it doesn't, if they lose these next 2, then the season's officially over. And then the whole season's about let's just get some Watson some reps so he's ready to go for next year, maybe with another coach.
G.Bush, where are you at the panic meter?
To me, I had the panic meter like years ago. When I saw what Joe Woods was doing, not in 2021, out in 2020, in the year that you were supposedly good, and you let Chad Henne rush for yards and Chase McSorley, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle to even be a team that's going to be able to win. Because if you look at the teams that the Browns have to play against, go watch a masterclass in offense tonight with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes.
That's going on right now.
Well, there we go. You guys.
Surprisingly, guys, it's only 7-3 Chiefs with 11:31 to go in the second quarter. I thought it would have been like 28-28 already.
If you think what they're doing right now is even remotely possible of being a contender, that's why I don't even. People say it's a week-to-week league. Nah, generally speaking, good teams they play a style of football that either they can play bad or good or somewhere, but they have a style that they play, and you know what you're going to get from them if you do certain things. The Browns, they don't have anything that they're doing and hanging their hat on. There's no consistency in the way they go about their business, and it's too many times that we're asking about coaching when you watch these other games. This stuff we ask about the Browns never comes up with other teams. Never. Yeah. It just doesn't.
By the way, we should be spending the majority of our show tomorrow talking about the Guardians, not the Browns, especially if the Guardians win tonight.
Hey, if the Guardians win, I'm all for it. Listen. What is there to talk about?
Browns matter right now. Guardians do.
Well, I mean,
we'll have a discussion later, not here in the public eye. Jeff,
I think we got to go.
On the panic meter?
It cannot be any higher. It can't. Because you've had every facet of this struggle at some point in time. Cade York has had his struggles. The defense, it's the passing game. All right. Then it's the running game. Today they played better against the running game. It was the passing game again against a string quarterback. The running game, you abandoned it too early. What's the one thing we all agreed upon leading up to all of this? Don't put Jacoby Brissett in the position to win games. You ask your quarterback to throw the ball more than 45 times. You're asking him to win the games. They can't get out of the way right now. They have no, identity. They're not sure what they are. And it's kind of sad because I think we all know what the identity is. It's a team that can run the living daylights out of the football. And even today, a game that was close early, one thing we all had faith in early. Maybe it wasn't there. Then Nick Chubb picked it up a little bit. Still 4.7 yards per carry. I think you're just grasping at straws, and they're just basically, lifting tickets off the wall, looking what it's and giving it a shot. I think it's a really, really dysfunctional unit right now.
I want to remind everybody, if you haven't already, you're missing out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here right now. Like the video, please. Hit the subscribe button. Ring the bell.
All the likes.
Check out the bullpen with Adam the Bull. Check out Locked On Browns with Jeff Lloyd and G.Bush. Subscribe to all those channels and ring the bell, including the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We are a Monday through Friday show, 11 to 1, talking all things Cleveland sports. We got a super chat here from my boy Jay Boyer. Back again. A well-coached team is a well-coached team. We played one today. Looking forward to baseball game tonight. Go Cavs.
And speaking of which, hopefully we will be celebrating the Guardians finishing off the Yankees tonight. But either way, even if they don't finish them off tonight, we will be on me, G, and Earl tonight after the Yankees, after the Guardians hopefully dispatch of the Yankees. We shall see. Don't want to do 2 losses today. Obviously, we won't crush the Guardians like we're crushing the Browns because the Guardians deserve some benefit of the doubt. The Guardians have already far exceeded expectations as opposed to the Browns, who, as often is the case, have let us down.
And here's my last. Oh, G, you go. Well, I want to say this before you go. Who has really exceeded expectations of people? We've been in here. We've been here for about an hour. We've been consistently over 1,700 people in here, and this thing is growing each week. This is crazy because the Browns have not given us a lot to celebrate, but you guys come in here every single week. You participate. You guys have super chats. So we want to congratulate you and we want to thank you for supporting us because right now there's not a lot of places doing what we do. And it's been a great outpouring. So we want to say thank you for that and just salute. And we'll be back here later for the post-game show.
Yeah, this has become kind of therapy for me. And I think a lot of Browns fans is what this has turned into. This is my last point, then we'll rise. And then if anyone else has the final word you want to get in, we can do it. But the way this season has gone, like the way it's gone, the ups and the downs, the wins and the losses, the demoralizing last second feats where you thought you had a game in your hand, it's been ripped out. It is an absolute roller coaster ride to have watched this Browns game through 6 weeks. And we have seen more ups and downs and tumultuous finishes than most teams see in a year. And we aren't even through really the second quarter. We're 6 weeks into an 18-game season, or 18-week season. We're 33% of the way through. It is debilitating to be a Brown. To you guys who have done this for 25, 30, 40, 45, 50 plus years, God bless you all. You are superheroes. They say superheroes aren't real. They say Superman's not real. Spider-Man's not real. Browns fans, y'all are superheroes for putting up with this week in and week out. And I'm learning quickly as a new Clevelander. It's tough, man. It is tough.
By the way, the Browns have not lost 4 in a row since 2019. Hopefully they can avoid that next week.
Okay, let me jump in before we give it to G here. Mike, as you're saying this for the guy who's now been here for years, I'm giving you the Homer Simpson gif. Come sit down, Mike. Like you're starting to get it. You truly are. But I am not going to spoil. I am not going to spoil anybody's Browns fandom here for the rest of the evening. I'm going to close this the way I closed it with G yesterday when I joined him on his radio show. Go Guards. Beat those stinking Yankees.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, before you go real quick, I walked around. I got my first taste of a downtown tailgate today. I saw G doing the radio show this morning.
Yeah,
he had the world's biggest.
He acknowledged you. Did he even pretend that he knew you, or did he act like he shunned you a little bit?
He gave me a little point. But
you didn't bring him up on stage.
Hey, listen, he stepped back. I seen him with the Guardians hat on. It looked like he was creeping on somebody. I said, McNuggets, who McNuggets with? I caught him. He didn't really say G.Bush. I caught him. I'm like, oh, he must be plotting. I ain't know he was on.
I pointed to G.Bush.
He pointed. I seen him. I said, oh, I see. Oh, yeah, my glasses was huge. Here's the thing about being on tailgate. You actually do have to, and you guys don't know, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is rock stars now. Y'all don't know it because we're not out in the public, but trust me, when we go out, I hear about all of y'all so many times, and they ask me, "Where's Jeff?" Jeff's not. He doesn't work for the fan. They're like, "Where's Pool?" I'm like, "They don't. We just don't all pull up on different joints, right?" But those people, I hear all the time. They say, G.Bush, we love the show. Listen, you got to have glasses on because if you look at them, they'll pull up. They'll just walk up on. No, you can't do that, and that's because we're rolling right now.
That's right. We can. By the way, as G said before, thanks to everybody that's checking us out and listening. It's about 5% of the people that are watching, listening that are hardcore douchebags, but the other 95% are awesome people. But here's one of the douchebags. Mike says they're losing now because they traded Baker Mayfield. Can you imagine being that dumb?
Yeah,
Can you imagine being that dumb? I could read all the stupid tweets.
I don't even need @ and I know exactly the guy that you were speaking of.
Mike Damone, maybe, or whatever his name is.
I think everybody's kind of familiar with who that is.
Well, either way, G.Bush is right. I walk out in public now, and I'm a normal-sized white dude who looks like every other normal-sized white dude you've ever seen in your entire life, and people go, yo, you're McNuggets from the show, and there's no reason I should be recognized. So thank you to everyone who's watching. Tomorrow, 11-1, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Tonight, after the Guardians beat the Yankees, G.Bush, Bull, and Earl the Pearl back on here.
A real team, not like these clown Browns right now.
And tomorrow, Jeff and G, you do too much stuff, man. But Jeff and G will be on the Lockdown Browns podcast with their version of some recap. So we appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe. It's our first post-game show that went an hour, and that felt like
too long for this terrible team.
Yeah, that felt like a lot for this therapy session. We will see you guys tomorrow.
35 too long.
The 2-minute warning post-game show on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and I'm going to turn the mics off and play the video we have to play. We will see y'all on Monday.
Later.
Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names.